former Prime Minister of Japan, and Mr. Scott Busby, U.S. State Department Deputy Assistant Secretary, Dr. Lai Yizhong, President of Prospect Foundation, distinguished guests from the diplomatic community, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all joining us virtually and in person for this year's Indo-Pacific Security Dialogue. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the Prospect Foundation, the Center for a New American Security, and the Japan Institute of International Affairs for organizing this important event. My special thanks to former Prime Minister Abe and Deputy Assistant Secretary Busby for your participation today. Thank you for taking the time to join us and for continuously voicing your support for Taiwan's security and democracy. I look forward to listening to your talks today. Today is the third time I'm delivering the opening remarks for this dialogue. Last year at this dialogue, I described 2020 as one of the most challenging years in our history. But at the same time, it was also defined by courage, warmth, and friendship. This year, as we gather here again, we are still facing many similar challenges. This year, however, can also be defined by ever greater cooperation between Taiwan and like-minded democracies around the world. As Taiwan assisted the international community with materials and equipment essential to slowing down the spread of COVID-19, the United States, Japan came to Taiwan's aid with donations of 8.2 million vaccines at the most critical times. Our democratic friends from Europe, such as the Czech Republic, Poland, Slovakia, and Pennsylvania, soon followed suit with their own donations. For that, I want to again express my gratitude. Furthermore, in the past few months, Taiwan welcomed delegations from the European Parliament, France, Slovakia, and the Baltic states. These delegations came to Taiwan not only for discussions on further collaboration between our countries, they were also here to demonstrate solidarity with their democratic partner. As one of the parliamentarians from the Lithuania said during the Open Parliament Forum last week, we are small, but we are strong. And when we join hands, we're even stronger. And last month, we witnessed the establishment of Taiwan's representative office in Lithuania. Last week, Taiwanese government representatives and members of the civil society also participated in a summit for democracy hosted by the United States. Our representatives, Ambassador Bi-Khim Xiao and Digital Minister Audrey Tang, share Taiwan's story of resilience and achieving democracy. Minister Tang also presented Taiwan's experience in combating the COVID-19 pandemic by utilizing digital technology while safeguarding our democratic institutions and values. They also related Taiwan's commitment to fight corruption, defend against authoritarian intrusion, and promotes respect for human rights in our region and around the world. Our message to the world is clear. No amount of external pressure can shake our efforts and commitment to freedom, human rights, and rule of law, and particularly harmony with an international democratic community. We will continue to work with our partners to maintain a secure, peaceful, free, and open Indo-Pacific. As the world deals with the third and fourth waves of COVID-19 infections, and most recently the emergence and spread of the Omicron variant, our work on global economic recovery and restructuring secure global supply chains has become even more pressing and important. And Taiwan is ready and capable to play a critical role in facilitating and assisting with this grand endeavor. With a close relationship between Taiwan, the United States, and Japan, the deepening of economic partnerships should also be our priority. We plan to work with the US, Japan, and other like-minded partners with shared strategic interests to revamp supply chains and produce high-tech products to help regional and global economic recovery. With the resumption of TIPA talks in June and the conclusion of the second annual Taiwan-US Economic Prosperity Partnership Dialogue, last week, the U.S. Secretary of Commerce and Taiwan's Minister of Economic Affairs also jointly announced the technology trade and investment collaboration framework, aimed at developing commercial programs and exploring concrete actions to strengthen critical supply chains. In addition, in September, Taiwan applied to join the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, that is CPTPP. We are grateful for Japan and former Prime Minister Abe's support and endorsement in this effort. Taiwan's bid to join this trade mechanism with high standards is a demonstration of our determination to be incorporated in the regional economic network. It is also our hope that our membership can serve as the start of a more significant contribution to regional economic development and revitalization. Moreover, as Asia's hub of technology, and with the versatility and flexibility of Taiwan's economy, Taiwan can play a crucial role in key areas like digital economy, supply chain resiliency, 5G network security, quality infrastructure, and clean energy. The last 2 years have been difficult for all countries, and all these challenges persist as we continue discovering new variants of the coronavirus while racing to vaccinate our population. Authoritarian regimes' intrusion to our way of life and institutions has intensified. But this trend has also served as an important wake-up call for democracies. Although extraordinary challenges remain and will probably stay with us for quite a while, democracies have also been working together to safeguard the values and institutions that we treasure. Our alliances are also being rekindled to serve the interests of the international community. I want to conclude my talk by saying Taiwan may be small in terms of territory, but it has proven that Taiwan matters to the region and the world. Taiwan has persevered in the face of existential threats and become an indispensable part of the Indo-Pacific. Our commitment to democracy has never been stronger, and we will not bend to pressure. As Taiwan continues to accumulate support from like-minded partners, we will also not shy away from challenges and want to be regarded as part of the solution for the international community. Lastly, I wish today's dialogue great success. I also hope all the participants use this event to discuss and strategize on important issues that are pressing to our citizens' well-being and our country's future. Have a wonderful holiday season, and I very much look forward to welcoming Prime Minister Abe and Deputy Assistant Secretary Busby to Taiwan in the near future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Madam President Tsai. Please have a seat. 我们非常感谢蔡英文总统为我们的致辞，请入席。Okay, and next, it's our great honor to have former Prime Minister of Japan, His Excellency Shinzo Abe. But before we bring him to you, I would like to invite President of the Prospect Foundation, Dr. Lai Yizhong, to introduce the keynote speaker first. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Lai.
I think the next speaker, former Prime Minister Abe Shinzo of Japan, needs no introductions. We do not see any better visionaries as well as this leader of strong conviction and compassion in Abe Shinzo himself. Former Prime Minister of Japan, Abe Shinzo, he's visionary because the Indo-Pacific strategy we talk about today is actually a vision and advocated by him back in year 2026. But Abe Shinzo was the first time served as a prime minister. And he's a leader of conviction, strong conviction, because what he believes Japan can become. And also, he's a leader of compassion, because what he believed that Taiwan can become. During the time that Taiwan was, our voice was ignored, we've been neglected, disparate. Prime Minister Abe always never hesitated to lend his hand, to encourage us, and also to give us a warm welcome. So that let me present to you the former Prime Minister of Japan, Abe Shinzo, and let's hear what he wanted to say. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I must begin by thanking Dr. Chen, Chairman of the Prospect Foundation, for having me today. March 23rd, 1996. Someone I have respected so much, the late Honorable President Lee Tong-hui, was elected for the first time in the Taiwanese history by popular vote as President of Taiwan. That was the moment when democracy began to take root in the nation. I hereby pray that Dr. Lee shall rest in eternal peace. I also pay tribute to the people in Taiwan, because this year it is the 25th anniversary of your achievement. I'm glad that Taiwan, as a democratic entity, has taken part in the Leaders' Summit for Democracy. It was timely and well-deserved. My hearty congratulations to all the people in Taiwan. As President Biden says, democracy doesn't happen by accident. We have to defend it, fight for it, strengthen it, and renew it. And on that account, few nations embody that reality better than Taiwan. Now, what are the agendas to make democracy more robust for the future generations? First, Taiwan, the United States, and Japan have one common, important agenda. That is to never ever lose our faith in freedoms, in human rights, in the rule of law, and in democracy for our children and their children to do the same, to cherish democracy. Here, Taiwan must be a leader because you deserve that. Like that Taiwan, I would like to say to spread faith across the globe in democracy. It is even more important for Taiwan to do so now, when in Hong Kong, democracy has little space to prosper. Second, why shall we lose no faith in democracy? Democracy may be messy. Democracy consumes time. A study shows that in 2016, as Prime Minister, to answer questions from my fellow members of the Parliament, I spent a total of about 370 hours tied to a chair, not so comfortable, on the floor of the Parliament. Democracy, therefore, also hurts. It is not good for your health. David Cameron, on the other hand, in that same year, did so only for about 50 hours. I envied him. Still, however, messy. Democracy is forever young. If the administration gets too rusty, you can change it, and your democracy gets renewed. Where there's no consent of the voters, there's no government. The power of democracy comes from within, neither from without, nor from the above. That is why, in the long run, democracy is strong. Third, when there is a threat over Taiwan and its democracy, it is a dire challenge to all of us, especially to Japan. With that in mind, I have enhanced Japan's national security. The United States military and Japanese self-defense forces have been close all the time. Now, the relationship is even closer. It is Japanese self-defense forces that provide security cover to U.S. military assets in and around the country every day. Lest we forget, weakness invites provocations. The three of us must stop no effort in building our capabilities in all domains, from the undersea, sea surface, airspace, to the cyber and outer space. To that end, let us consider new ways of sharing our knowledge and technologies even more effectively. Here's another point: an adventure in military affairs, if pursued by such a huge economy like China's, could be suicidal, to say the least. We must urge them not to pursue territorial expansion and refrain from provoking, often bullying their neighbors, because it should harm their own interests. And yet again, we must have more partners to work with to make our voice heard with more strength. With that in mind, I worked hard, first to reinvest into the alliance with the US, second to widen our boundary from Asia Pacific to Indo-Pacific, and third, to launch the Quad process. Japan, on my watch, chose to hoist high a banner for freedoms, human rights, democracy, and the rule of law. Not only India and Australia, countries such as France and the UK and even more freedom-loving nations are gathering around that banner. Jointly, Australia and Japan brought TPP into place. It is a group of economies that hold a rules-based order very much dear. That is why the UK does qualify as a member, and so does Taiwan, without doubt. Finally, the United States, Japan, and other like-minded countries should work hard to bring Taiwan to international organizations of universal relevance. WHO comes on top of the list. There are many others. That is one important way for us to sow seeds of hope for the next generations of the Taiwanese. A prouder Taiwan will become a stronger guardian of our common values, and it will be in the best interest of Japan, the United States, and indeed the entire world. Thank you very much.
Many thanks to Your Excellency Shinzo Abe. Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, due to her tight schedule, Madam President will have to leave for next agenda. So now, please join me once again to express our thanks to Her Excellency Madam President Tsai Ing-wen for participating this morning with another round of applause. 我们再一次用热烈掌声恭送小英总统，谢谢总统今天早上的莅临。Okay, dear distinguished guests, afterwards we'll proceed to the keynote speech section. And it's also our privilege to have the Honorable Mr. Scott Bensky, Acting Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary, Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights and Labor, U.S. Department of State. But before we have him